What's up guys, and welcome to my very first video on this channel, Talk Premier League. What I'll be doing on this channel starting from today is speak about the Premier League with no bias or subjectivity whatsoever. This is all my personal opinion and I'll be speaking as a neutral. Please give me your opinions down below in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real fan content. Starting with this video, I'll be making season reviews for the uniquely played out 2019-2020 Premier League season, starting with the second place runners-up, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. By the way, please note that I cannot mention every point I would like to, or else this video would be obviously several hours long with all the events that occur in a single Premier League season. You know, this season we've had VAR and all that rubbish. And just to make this clear, I'll only be critiquing Manchester City's Premier League performance rather than all competitions such as the Carabao Cup, in which they were obviously champions. Firstly, I believe it's been a disappointing season for the demanding citizens' boss Pep Guardiola after winning 2 back-to-back league titles, meanwhile breaking the Premier League points tally total in the 2017-18 season with 101 points, which was extraordinary. However, third time was unfortunately not the charm this season, with what seemed to be a much less competitive league than the last one, where only 1 point separated Liverpool and Manchester City in the race for the Championship, and as it went down to the last day. Was it due to the widely disliked Puma switch? Who knows? This is largely due, of course, to Liverpool's brilliance and some frailties at the back for Manchester City, which cost them 9 losses, more losses in a single Premier League season than their last 2 combined, which unfortunately is never good enough to win a Premier League title. Obviously, as we all know, Manchester City have one of the best, if not the best managers in the world, who plays a style of football so easy to watch on the eye and have a cluster of great talents all throughout the squad, with a somewhat scary amount of squad depth available to Pep, with the likes of KDB, the youngster Phil Foden, David and Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Sané, Sterling, Sergio Aguero, the Algerian Riyad Mahrez, and many others, leading many to believe that even their B team, shall we call it, has a possibility of challenging for the Premier League title as well as their A team. Well, I think has been the citizens' downfall this season, in my opinion, is that when needed, Pep never had a plan B play style. Even though the plan A is probably the best and most unstoppable play style in the world, football, with the possession-based playing at the back dilemma, with the likes of Laporte, playing out. However, after 2 seasons of glory within the Premier League of repeating these antics, teams with the resources and managers of the expected high caliber within the Premier League had begun to plot specific styles of play to get something out of City by simply sitting back with maybe 2 banks of 4, or a flat back 5 and 3 midfielders in front of them, alright, such as Wolves, who had done it twice this season, which granted them a Premier League double. And all they did is just frustrate City all game and try to hit them on the break with pace and power against the exposed high line. Adama Traore obviously was vital to this, as well as feeding on some obvious luck, which we will be required in an entire 90-minute game versus such a good side like City. I believe the vacancy of having a typical plan B with a big and tall forward to act as an aerial threat, if playing patient and pretty football around the team isn't working, is hurting City dearly, with the last forward that fits this bill being Edin Dzeko, who had left south to Rome in the deal, worth £14 million in 2015. An example of City needing that target man is against their arch enemy Manchester United, who performed the league double over them this season. I want to turn your attention now to the Manchester derby, which had occurred in the Etihad Stadium in December of 2019 here, where Manchester City suffered an unexpected 2-1 loss at the hands of their rivals. But trust me, it could have been much more. What Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did so well that game is that he actually had 2 CDMs in Freddie McTominay doing a man-marking job on David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, which completely cut off Manchester City's creative sparks, who could make things happen for them. Then behind that, they had a flat back 4 who defended very well. But what was most concerning for City was how easily they were cut open from pacey counter-attacks with the likes of Dan James, Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial running directly through their infamous high line, This left them with many situations of a 4v2 or a 4v3 with Rodri dropping in between the two centre backs. But with the blistering pace of that front line, they just couldn't deal with it. They just couldn't deal with anything. And it really could have been 3 or 4-0 at half-time at United running riot if it weren't for some bad finishing. In contrast to this, I think this is something that Jurgen Klopp had implemented very strongly at Liverpool and got his reward with the title, with them enjoying many different ways of scoring, including putting crosses in the box, with who I think are the best pair of attacking fullbacks in Europe in Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, or playing around teams with the class they have up top and the luxury of a Roberto Firmino who can just pick up the ball, hold it up, and find space for the more prolific Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah. But most concerning to me were the drop points in some of what we'd consider easy games that champions should be comfortably winning at third gear, such as the 3-2 loss to bottom place Norwich City at Carrow Road in September, which involved Timu Pukki scoring a tap-in after an unforgivable call-out from Nicolas Otamendi, which allowed Buendia to just square it for Pukki to make it 3-1 at the 58th minute. These are the type of defensive frailties I'm speaking about which cost City their title this season. Another example is a 2-2 draw at St James's Park at the hands of Steve Bruce's Newcastle United, whilst keeping an astonishing 76% of the ball, but still dropping 2 points. Other disappointing results, such as the league double inflicted upon City by Wolves, have also contributed to their large point gap from Liverpool. What we've come to expect from City is that even if they aren't playing well, which is not often, they should be able to find a way through, find a way to win. But that's what champions do. But that's not what happened. But for example, Liverpool, the champions, got a fortunate 1-0 win at Bramall Lane to newly promoted Sheffield United thanks to a Dean Henderson howler. But they got the job done and left Sheffield with 3 points to take back to Merseyside. That's all that matters. Other examples of Liverpool finding a way over the line in a match where they deserve to drop points is at a raucous Villa Park in November, where the poorly performing Scousers found themselves 1 goal behind with less than 5 minutes remaining on the clock. But even then, when they were up against it, the crowds against them, they still forced a pendulum switch in their direction to scrape a 2-1 win and solidify top spot. But now, let's move on to the positives. I'm going to talk about the players that have personally impressed me this season. I'm going to critique them and give them a score and tell you what I think. Let's start off with the goalkeeper Ederson. Ederson, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I think we know the importance of having a goalkeeper who is good on their feet to Pep Guardiola, highlighted in the early and somewhat considered cruel departure of Joe Hart as he first joined due to his poor distribution and ball playing ability, even though he was an excellent shot stopper. With Ederson, I really do believe he's continued his form since the 2 consecutive Premier League wins after his astonishingly cheap £35 million move from Benfica in this current inflated market. In Ederson, I know it's a cliche and many people say this, but I can honestly see him getting into the midfields of some Premier League teams with his eye for a pass, and most importantly, he's an excellent shot stopper too. In my opinion, second to only Ederson in the world. Now, the second player who's impressed me this season is Rodri. Rodri is the Spanish midfielder who joined Citizens from Atletico Madrid for a sum rumoured to be around £63 million, which I think was great business to get him to join the blue side of Manchester. I believe he will be a heir to the Fernandinho role, who is unfortunately getting into the latter stage of his career at the age of 34. At the start of his City career, questions were asked of Rodri on whether he is good enough to replace Fernandinho long term, and I personally understood the critic at the time, as he did used to look a bit slow and not up to the speed of the Premier League. But now he has really cemented himself as being one of the best specialist CDMs in the Premier League. His passing ability, tenacity, long shooting ability, obviously highlighted by his goal at Turf Moor against Burnley, ability to dictate the play and provide some defensive cover. So similar with the likes of N'Golo Kante, Wilfred Ndidi and Fabinho. And now, let's move on to the star man of the team, Kevin De Bruyne. What else is there really to say about this man? He's fantastic. In my opinion, the second best player in Europe after the genius Lionel Messi. The Belgian has the lot: an eye for a pass, creativity, an unstoppable low cross, long shots, penalties, free kicks, his movement to find space, and obviously assists and goals. What else do you need? He's incredible, and in my opinion, the Premier League player of the season. even though he did come second with his team. Kevin De Bruyne has created the most chances per 90 in the Premier League this season than any other player, and has the most goals and assists with 29 by the end of game week 36. He well and truly is Pep Guardiola's man and fits his team like a glove. Now, let's move on to the Algerian Riyad Mahrez, who I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. This is a star who joined from Leicester City back in 2018 for a fee rumoured to be around £61 million, and that seemed to be a bit of a squad player, to be fair, rather than Pep's trusted starting man on that right-hand flank. But that has completely changed this season, with the Algerian displacing the incredible Bernardo Silva from the starting 11 and making that right-hand side his own. Mahrez has actually racked up 19 goals and assists this season as of game week 36, and what I find to be most impressive about the Algerian superstar is his footwork, close control, and the ability to glide past the defender with ease, therefore creating a good chance to score himself or maybe set up one of his teammates for like a tap-in. I really do believe Mahrez has been the most improved player in the City side this season, and his form post the stoppage in play back in March has been phenomenal. I think this is down to his commitment and ability, as well as the decreased pressure with playing in front of no spectators, which is allowing him to freely express himself on the football pitch with his beautiful footwork, rather than taking maybe the safer option and passing the ball back from where it came from due to pressure of losing the ball from the crowd. I really do believe Pep has aided Mahrez in his football IQ throughout this season, and last to find the correct blend of taking risks and trying to get back past players or find the defence playing pass or cross, and playing it easy if the options are not there to be played. Of course, in any City team of the last decade, there's not only going to be four good performers, there's going to be many. So I think I have to give some honourable mentions right now, and the first one must go to Raheem Sterling, who has been absolutely fantastic since the restart, highlighted by his hat-trick at the Amex against a tough Brighton side, who has obviously defeated Arsenal 2-1, which was a bit of a controversial game where Arsenal fans, if you ask them, will tell you Mopai is a cheat and should have been sent off with a shoulder barge on Leno, but I think that's absolute nonsense. But of course, you're entitled to your opinions. Anyways, they also have taken a point off Leicester at the King Power Stadium since the restart, as well as other honourable performances from Raheem Sterling, such as his outing against Liverpool at home with his goal and winning the penalty against Joe Gomez, and some beautiful footwork from the Englishman to get City started in the 4-0 thrashing of Liverpool. Furthermore, an honourable mention has to go to the main man, Mr. City, Sergio Aguero, who, although has experienced an unfortunate injury in the 5-0 thrashing of Burnley at the Etihad in June, has continued his remarkable goal-scoring form, even at the age of 32 has a goal every 91 minutes in the Premier League, as well as getting the Player of the Month in January of 2020. Now, it's time to move on to my overall grade for Manchester City in the Premier League season of 2019-2020. And that's going to be a bit of a underwhelming B-. City will be disappointed to not have ultimately won the title, but winning it 3 times on the bounce is extremely difficult for any side in the history of the division, with no side in the history of the Premier League ever even replicating that accolade. This is easier than it sounds, guys. I've got to emphasise that. And this is something for City fans to get excited. What do I expect from you guys next season? I think City next season will get the title back and they're going to win the league, first place. I do strongly believe City will take this loss of the titles this season and congratulate Liverpool for the deserved victory. But next season will be their year. Firstly, with the confirmation of the 5 substitutes and maximum being extended into next season, I do think this will play in City's hands, who have the greatest squad depth of any team in Europe, or maybe one of the best squads of all time. Therefore, if a game wasn't going Pep's way, he can rely on so many world-class players, to come off the bench and change the game, such as Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus, due to the pure firepower available to Pep. Furthermore, strong rumours are linking Koulibaly to the Etihad should excite City fans, as he really is a fantastic centre-back who is dominant in the air and has the recovery pace to deal with the quick counter-attacks some teams can pose. And him and Laporte will no doubtedly be a force to be reckoned with if he were to make the switch north from Naples to Manchester. However, I believe a left-back is badly needed, it's an area that Man City scouts really need to look at, with right back being a strong spot due to Walker and Cancelo's availability. However, in left back, Mendy obviously has failed to impress when he's played. For example, his poor concession of the ball against Chelsea to allow Christian Pulisic to run through on goal and score from his own doing, and obviously playing time before the restart has been tremendously limited in itself due to the endless unfortunate injuries sustained, and the jury's still out on the young Ukrainian Zinchenko on whether he's good enough to be starting for this caliber of team after he joined from the Russian Premier League side FC Ufa in 2016. Even though it is undoubted that he tries hard, but is the quality there? Is the real question. And finally, since the restart, we've seen a potentially world-class player in Phil Foden, and is the perfect heir to the David Silva vacancy to be left by the end of the UCL campaign for City, which many have hinted that Foden will fit into his role for next season and many years beyond. With an extra year of experience and age, I really do believe Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden in the same midfield will be an absolute joke, with the pure quality and football technicality there. Their challengers next season, I think, will be Chelsea, firstly, with the signings of Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, and many more rumoured to come, such as Declan Rice and Chilwell. And I think Liverpool, once again, obviously, will, with their great team, will still challenge. And I think Manchester United are another side who, since the restart, with the arrival of Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, have looked outstanding. And, they've got Fernandes and Paul Pogba in the same midfield, which, it's very strong. And their searing pace and finishing up top with Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, and potentially Jadon Sancho coming in this summer, that's going to look lethal. Anyways, guys, that'll be it. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's only my first video, by the way, but many more will come, so stay tuned for more Premier League and general football content. And anyways, boys, just give me some of your opinions down below in the comment section. We're all stuck at home right now watching the football currently play out. There's nothing better than some fun discussions to take place in these times. If you have any recommendations for future videos, teams or matches you'd like me to talk about, please feel free to comment down below as well. I will also take any good advice on future content to upload and deliver to you all. Anyways, it's been a pleasure. I will see you all soon. Peace.